All right, my friends, this is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi from the Fit Father Project, and in this video, I want to outline some meal timing setups that work well for guys who work a typical third shift, a night shift. Because if you're out there and you're working the third shift, you know how tough it can be to live healthy and to figure out when you should actually be eating your meals. And now on our Fit Father 30X program, I get this question from guys all the time. They get our Fit Father meal plan and they're like, how should I time things? You know, I have a weird third shift schedule. So in this video, I'm going to outline actually some of the meal timing setups that I recommend for guys, and hopefully you're going to find this valuable. So first off, I want to cover, we got the third shift here, some of the health problems that naturally happen if you are working the third shift, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. Working shift work that shifts our bodies out of our natural, work during the day, sleep at night schedule is harmful to our health. And long-term night shift work is associated with an increased risk of certain cancers, metabolic problems like weight gain, heart disease, stress ulcers, gastrointestinal problems, obesity. And a lot of this is due to the fact that our bodies have what we call a natural circadian rhythm. We have this biological clock where our bodies are kind of hardwired to be synced with sunlight. And sunlight enters our eyes and causes a lot of changes in our brain that release a cascade of certain hormones that regulates our metabolism, our bowel movements, etc. So we have the circadian rhythm, and third shift work is completely unnatural in relation to the circadian rhythm. So we are working against biology. That being said, even though third shift does increase the risk of certain of these conditions, it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to get them if you do the best with your meal timing, your exercise, your eating, and sleep. We can mitigate these risks with the setup I'm going to teach you in this guide. But first off, I just need you to know that this natural biological rhythm where we wake up and we wake up here, we have peak alertness at 10 as cortisol's coming up, testosterone's high in the morning, and then cortisol's raising throughout the day. And then towards the night is when our body temperature starts to drop, melatonin is secreted, our bowel movements stop at night, they're highest during the day, and then we get the deepest sleep, a low body temperature, and then melatonin production stops. Essentially, when we do third shift, we're switching this. We're putting our most activity during this time when there's not a lot of light and our bodies are naturally supposed to wind down. We're flip-flopping the schedule. So one of the main problems is the effect of light and how it affects our eyes. In particular, I want to talk about blue light because it's a particular spectrum of light that comes off of phones and computer screens in unnaturally high amounts. And what that does is when it hits our eyes, it shuts off the production of melatonin. So even if you work third shift work and there's lower light because it's the nighttime, your body should be secreting some melatonin, which is absolutely essentially very important for your health. But if we're looking at computer screens and phone screens while we're doing shift work that has a lot of blue light, that's going to naturally secrete melatonin. And I personally suspect from my research that some of these issues with some of the health stuff has to do with the fact that melatonin is so messed up with people who work shift work who are also looking at blue screens. So again, this is that blue wavelength of light, and it tremendously affects melatonin. So what you can do is get blue blocking glasses that have an orange tint on them and wear those during your shift work if your work allows. Or you can put something on your screen, like these iPhones have something called night shift mode that gets rid of a lot of the blue light, or you can download a program like Iris or f.lux on your computer that gets out some of the blue light. That will be helpful for essentially helping preserve your melatonin on the shift work, because that's really going to help impact your metabolism. So let's look into this. So I got a question right here from, let's go down here actually to the meal plan document itself. The way I teach guys is there's really three kind of ways that we can look at shift work meal timing. And there's three setups that I give guys, and the first two are going to be the most optimal. And setup number one is a setup that I call morning exercise before bed. So let's say your shift work starts at, let's say from 9 a.m. till 7 a.m. That's kind of like your shift work schedule. And you want to be the kind of guy who exercises in the morning before sleep. So what you would do is essentially have a pre-workout protein shake, which will be 1 scoop of protein powder, 30 minutes before your morning workout session. So you would take this at like 7:30 right as you're getting off work. You would work out from like 7:30 till 8:30. And at 8:30, you would have a post-workout meal, which I recommend that you make a low-carb meal. So inside our FitFollower meal plan, if you're a member of FF30X, I recommend that you do one of those low-carb shakes or one of those low-carb omelet recipes that we give you, because that your body is going to do best on low-carb breakfast foods after a whole night of not sleeping, essentially. With this setup, then you would sleep from around 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. You would get up at 4 and follow one of those afternoon mini meal snack recipes that we have in the FitFollower meal plan. Then you'd have dinner at around 7 with your family, and you'd kind of get to work after that. And you have an optional snack, like another one of those afternoon mini meals, like those lower carb almonds, protein shakes, etc., at around 10 p.m. And then you'd fast throughout the night until your pre-workout shake. And the reason why this is optimal is that even though you're working shift work, your body still does best if we keep most of the food throughout the day. Food is one way that our bodies are really good at maintaining these circadian rhythms that I showed you earlier. And if we can keep the vast majority of our meals during the day, even though we're working at night, that'll help your body stay healthy. And on days you're not doing a morning workout, you do not need that pre-workout protein powder. You can just have that breakfast at 8:30 a.m. when you get off shift. And try to maximize your sleep as possible, as best as possible during the day, using things like a face mask and some earplugs. Because naturally our bodies, you're going to be tired from the third shift, but your body needs to really have as best sleep as possible to maximize the health benefits. So that's setup number 1. Setup number 2 is afternoon exercise after waking up. This is for guys who do not want to exercise first thing in the morning after getting off shift. So instead you get home, you'd have something light, a light breakfast from 7 to 9, whenever you get off shift work, and you'll have something like one of those FitFollower fat burning shakes or one of those low carb omelets. Then you'll go to bed and sleep from whenever you sleep. And when you get up, you'll have a whole food meal somewhere around 3 to 4 p.m. using one of those FitFollower afternoon snack recipes. And then I recommend that this is one of those lighter meals that you exercise either directly before meal 2. So right when you get up, you either do your workout, then you have this meal 2 after you exercise, or you have this meal at like 3-4 p.m. and then you exercise in between this meal and dinner at 7 p.m. So this should say full-blown dinner here. So again, to recap this one, you're not working out in the morning with the second setup. You're essentially having a light lower carb breakfast. You're sleeping and you're getting up and you're either working out before this little snack here, or you're going to work out 2 hours after this little snack, and then you'll have a dinner with your family at 7 p.m. and you have an optional 10 p.m. Snack that is using one of those FitFollower snack recipes. Then you simply drink water until your 9:30 a.m. breakfast. So you're still mostly keeping your eating from the hours of around 9 a.m. till 10 p.m. That will be optimal here. And then the least optimal of these setups is eating throughout the night. And the reason, again, this is not as optimal is because, again, food is one way that we can really help our bodies maintain some normalcy and a normal circadian rhythm, even though we're working nights. But if you're a guy who just wants to really eat at night, you still can do this. So let's say you wake up at like 7 p.m., you wake up late because you had a really big shift. You'd have meal number 1, 8 p.m., maybe with your family, have a dinner. Work starts, you have a light snack around midnight, and then you have like a low-carb omelet, one of those low-carb breakfast recipes in the morning at like 6, 7 a.m. when you're off work. Then you have that big sleep block, and then you might wake up to have a little lunch at 12 p.m., then you have your second sleep block. This works as well. It's not as optimal as these first two because, again, we're having a lot of these meals throughout the night, and it's a little less of a regular pattern. But I do need you to know, even using this least optimal setup, we have guys on our program like Tony here who just I gave him that kind of setup here in this email, and I want you to see Tony's message. He says, "Thank you for the revised meal plan. I started the meal plan prior to kicking off FF30X. He wakes up at 10:30 p.m., has a shake around 12:31, has an omelet at 6, and another snack at 10:30, and a chicken Caesar wrap at 2:30. So he's eating around the clock, but he dropped 15 pounds using this and 22 pounds to date. So and he just does 30-minute walks during the day. So just know, even using this least optimal setup here, it's still possible to drop a good amount of weight. And a guy like Tony's doing well on that. So I hope this gave you some ideas on meal timing. I want you to, again, these times are not hard and fast. I don't know your exact schedule, but use these as structures that you can kind of adapt to your specific schedule. And I hope you found this helpful. Definitely check out the FAQ associated with this. And I'm really excited to help you live healthy. Again, just because you work shift work and you're providing for your family and doing the hard work does not mean that you can't live a healthy life. You can. Let's focus on the good kind of foods, good exercise, and maximizing this meal timing. I hope you found this helpful, my friend. Dr. Anthony here, signing off.